Hey, good evening. Welcome to LongShots TV, sponsored by Trend Betters. Hey, I'm your host, Tony the Rhino. We're going to be talking a little bit of football tonight. It's going to be a short show. We don't have my cohort, Donnie Rightside, with us tonight. He was out of town and got back late. So we do have some good action coming up tomorrow. Another 9 a.m. game, guys. We got Washington at Cincinnati. Cincinnati's favored by 2.5. 86% of the money's on Cincinnati. I see no reason why Cincinnati can't cover that 2.5 at home. There are some significant injuries on both sides, but they may be upgraded at some point tomorrow, so make sure you check those reports in the morning by 11:30 and see who's playing and who's not. That'll be very important on that game. The 1 o'clock games, we have Kansas City at Indianapolis. Indianapolis is getting 2.5 at home, and 67% of the money is on Kansas City. Kansas City is quietly getting the job done. They did, I believe, have a bye. No, that's right. They beat the Saints last week, 27-21. So Kansas City is quietly getting it done. Indianapolis did have a win, beat the Titans 34-26 last week. There are a few injuries on both sides of the ball there. Pretty much all the teams this time of year are a little bit banged up, so you're going to want to check those injury reports in the morning to see where these teams stand. Another 1 o'clock game, you got Jets at Cleveland. Cleveland hasn't been able to put together a win. Let's see if they can possibly do it here this week. They're getting 2.5 at home against the Jets. The Jets, I believe, did win last week, 24-16 over the Ravens. So they've put a little bit together. Geno Smith is hurt again, so you're going to watch that one as well. Cleveland, I just can't see Cleveland beating anybody this year. They may go 0-16, guys. I mean, it's just a terrible, terrible team. But that's the norm for that organization these days. So watch out for that game. New England at Buffalo. Obviously, almost 96% of the money is on New England. They're getting 6 on the road at Buffalo. Buffalo's been a team that's put together a pretty good defense. They run the ball good. But I don't know if they can stop Tom Brady. If that score is under a touchdown, you might want to take Tom Brady in that situation, even though they are on the road. But it looks to be a very good game. Patriots won last week. They beat the Steelers 27-16, and I think that's going to be a good game, and I see no reason why Tom Brady couldn't take care of business there as well. Seattle at New Orleans. This is basically a pick'em game. There's no wager information recorded at this time. It's one of those games that a lot of bettors don't bet on. It's a tough game to call. It can go either way. Seattle hasn't been putting together the defense like that they are used to doing normally. So, people are wondering, are they going to do anything at this point? So, New Orleans has a great passing attack, obviously, and they're going to go over the top. They are at home, so that's one of those games that's the reason that there's probably not any wagers on that game is just it's a toss-up. That's a tough one to call. Oakland at Tampa Bay. Oakland Raiders. The Raiders are putting together a pretty good season here. 98% of the money is on the Oakland Raiders. Guys, just on a principle, this is one of those games that I would fade. It is a pick'em. Oakland at -120, Tampa Bay +100, but Tampa Bay's at home. This is one of those types of games where you got that much money on the Raiders, you might want to just go the other way. But again, this is probably a game that I'd just stay away from altogether. Arizona at Carolina. Carolina favored at home by -3. They're getting 68% of the money. I'm checking all these wagers on SBR Sports, so you'll know that it's just one source of information for these. Arizona, again, Carson Palmer just hasn't had the kind of attack. Arians is just, got to be a little frustrated at this point in the season, not putting it together like they are supposed to. They had a prolific passing attack last few years. It's just not there. And this was everybody just hung their head and wept for the NFL last Sunday because of the 6-6 tie. How do you end a game 6-6 in the NFL? It was just disgusting. So moving on, Detroit at Houston. Texans are favored by 2.5. Let's see, 87% of the money is on Houston. Detroit has got a tough situation here. They did put together a great comeback drive to win the game last week over Washington. Matthew Stafford looked really, really well, and I can't see him, doing a whole lot down there. The Texans' defense has in history has been pretty good against the Detroit Lions in their passing game. So look for him to maybe get a little bit run heavy in this situation, but that's again another very tough game to call. If I had to push one way or the other, I would probably take Detroit in the points here. Then you've got the 4 or 5 game, San Diego at Denver. Denver's favored by 4. 79% of the money is on San Diego. San Diego's looking pretty good. They're getting it together. Phillip Rivers is starting to distribute the ball pretty well. But again, injuries are, keeping them down a little bit in this game. Denver's defense has not been showing up like they have in the past, so they're a little bit banged up, but they took care of business last week, obviously, with the big cover and win. So Green Bay at Atlanta. The Packers are always tough anywhere they go, especially at home, but they're playing on the road at Atlanta against the Falcons this week. The Falcons are favored -3. 62% of the money on the Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan, pretty good at home, throwing that ball, and they should be able to cover that 3 very easily. So in that game, that is one of the games that I would look at. I'm still researching that. On NFL games, I always wait till the injury reports come out, except for very obvious situations, which are rare. But you're definitely going to check those injury reports before you lay any money on that game. Philadelphia at Dallas is the 8:30 game, and boy, I hate to say it, but the NFL really did a crappy job this year, guys, of putting together primetime matchups. Obviously, the teams are not what they expected to see at this point or during that point of the year. So we're getting a lot of lousy matchups. It's sorry to say, but it is what it is, and we'll take it. It's still football. Dallas is favored by 4.5 at home over Philadelphia. I don't know if Carson Wentz can go in there. This is probably going to be a fairly decent game as far as that goes. It will be competitive. Look for the Eagles to maybe give Dallas the stop at home there. So then the Monday night game, Minnesota at Chicago. The Bears have been horrendous. Hoyer has been looking pretty decent, but the team's pretty beat up. He's got one prolific receiver in Alshon Jeffrey. Minnesota Vikings have been rolling pretty good. They suffered their first loss, but they should be able to go into Chicago and take care of the Bears at Soldier Field. So just a quick rundown of NFL, guys. I know Donnie is really good with remembering names and players and injuries and all that good stuff. I have sometimes really have that short-term memory. If I'm not looking at it, I can't tell you about it. So I do apologize for that, guys. But a lot of good games to wager on tomorrow, and especially in college football. We will give you a huge LongShots TV's college football play of the week, guys. You're not going to believe it, but I'm taking this game actually on the money line, but just to be safe, you guys should take this plus the 4.5. And yes, Clemson will get upset by Florida State University tomorrow. Yes, you heard it here. Florida State University, if we can find that graphic. But Florida State University is going to upset Clemson tomorrow. Put it in the bank. I actually played this game on the money line at 170. You can take the points at 4.5 just to be safe, but they're going to get upset tomorrow, guys. You can just about guarantee it. So there it is. We lost it for a moment. But anyway, we had to rush to get that one together. Well, we had SEMO Buckets on the earlier NBA show, and that was a lot of fun, and we got a little bit crunched on time, so we had to get some stuff rearranged. But the NFL games, guys, in my opinion, don't look all that great tomorrow. There might be one or two good picks out of the entire day. The 8:30 game might be a decent game to go on if you can get some, a good solid read on that game. Be a little scared of that number of 4.5, in my opinion. So we're going to have a great day of college football tomorrow. College football, there's a lot of good games going on. And tonight, just to give you a quick rundown of what's happening, South Florida is beating up on Navy 42-14. They're in the third quarter. 10:54 left in the third quarter. San Diego State is up 17 on Utah State. That was my play of the day today for us. And Juan says, fear the spear. I agree. And then later tonight, we've got Air Force at Fresno State. Fresno State is getting 13.5 at home, 14.5 on some books. Actually, a lot of the books are saying 14.5 on that game. But San Diego State's rolling over Utah State. I was looking for that to happen, and they're proving that they can get it done there. I've got 4:44 left in the second quarter again. San Diego State up 17-7 over Utah State. A lot of good games tomorrow. Georgia State, South Alabama is a nice one I'm looking at. You've got number 16 Oklahoma playing at home against Kansas. Number 24 Penn State's on the road at Purdue. Then, like I said, you got the Clemson Florida State game. That's the 8 o'clock game. And then West Virginia number 10 is playing Oklahoma State. That's a noon game. Number 8 Baylor is at Texas. Then we have a couple of the better games. Nebraska at Wisconsin. Number 7 Nebraska at number 11 Wisconsin. Georgia at number 14 Florida. Number 15 Auburn at Ole Miss. Number 18 Tennessee at South Carolina. And number 2 Michigan at Michigan State. Guys, Michigan State is getting 24.5 points in this game tomorrow. Take the points, guys. I know Michigan's looking for a little bit of revenge from last year, but, Michigan State, they're going to be able to hang around in this game. I'm looking for actually a fairly low-scoring game. I think Michigan might beat them by 2 touchdowns at most. So that's a good spot to lay to take the points and get a win. Washington, number 4 against number 17 Utah. That's going to be an interesting game. Washington coming into Utah. Utah had a letdown, and I think they're going to be geared up to play Washington coming in to the home stadium. So that's going to be a tough matchup. I believe, 10 points on that spread is Utah is getting 10 points, in that one. So that may be a good spot to take points. I don't know. Washington's pretty tough. They've been pushing hard. Everybody knows that Ohio State had their big letdown last week, and unfortunately they dropped like a rock in the AP polls, and unfortunately they just aren't going to be able to dig out of that hole, in my opinion. So that moves everybody up into a higher spot. But look for the big upset tomorrow, guys. Florida State over Clemson. You heard it here. It's going to happen. All right, guys. Well, this has been a short, abbreviated show for you. Oh, who you got? Ballamator says, who you got for the Heisman? Right now, that's a good one. I'd have to go with, Jabril Peppers has jumped up a long way, in my opinion, as far as getting in the Heisman race. And then you have the normal guys in the race. Christian McCaffrey, who I picked at the beginning of the year to win it. I don't think he's going to be able to do it due to the fact that he just doesn't have the supporting cast to, showcase his talents this year. So I think he's going to be out of that Heisman talk here shortly, and if he's not already, and it'll change over. But I think the focus and attention right now is on Jabril Peppers for the Heisman, and we'll see how the next couple of weeks play out. It's really going to change the playoff picture this week and next week, as far as who's going to be there. The FBS rankings come out soon, and we'll see what that picture looks like. But I think it's going to be a little different than what we expected at this point in the season. So, all right, guys. Well, it's like I said, an abbreviated show tonight. Sorry about that. We will have Donnie on again next week, and we'll have some other guests into the show, and we'll talk about some more football. So thanks for tuning in. Please hit the follow button on Twitch if you're watching us on Twitch. We really appreciate it. If you're on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button, and we thank you very much for doing that. As always, it's been a lot of fun bringing everything to you guys. And if you have any comments or anything that you would like us to talk about or air, please let us know in the chat or send us a message over on Facebook at LongShots TV. You can reach us there, or at LongShots TV on Twitter. All right, guys, this is Tony Rhino for LongShots TV. Take a shot with LongShots. We are the game. Even get to